Okay, I was going through my cache this afternoon, and I normally don't see this Google here. I normally, if I have cache in the Google, it's in the browser. So I open it up, and I notice all these new files in here that hit my computer at 12 o'clock today, 10 o'clock. This one is 54 megabytes. How did that get in there? So I click on it, and I start noticing Fastly in here. San Francisco, California. Now, this is interesting because Fastly, but you know what? Fastly's been hitting my radar screen because this is my iPad, and watch this. Watch this URL. I am on CNN, and I type in CNN, and it goes right to Fastly. Look at it. Now, this I started seeing last week. I type in Wood TV, and it goes right to Fastly. Now, this was my Tor browser that discovered this. I go to MLive. Typed it in wrong. MLive. And now I'm on Fastly. Even though I'm on MLive right here, my URL tells me I'm at Fastly. I went to inject this quick clip, and it's a rewind of what you've already seen, but 5,000 pages long in a PDF. I printed this out. Okay, the reason I wanted to show this is the word Varnish right here. The Varnish platform that Fastly right here is using. And this was the file that I printed out on the 20th. It looks like it was installed on the 13th. And here I have other documents that have their server information and all the other good stuff. But this document was actually 4,300 pages, but there's over, I think over 8,000 pages of script that they installed into my. So who's Fastly? Fastly is a content delivery company that is obviously made their way through the travel industry. So I want to find out who their customers are. So I scroll down here and I find a guy that's been trying to get to me since 2016, September 1st, 2016. And this is Tom Parker. Now,
travel solutions to serve people's needs. When people are searching for travel, if the site is really slow, they're going to go somewhere else. So for us, it's really, really important to get the results back to the user as quickly as possible. So if you're really close to the data center, you're going to get really good performance. But if you're not really close to the data center, using a CDN basically decreases your latency. It's not.
So this guy, Tom Parker, sent me this email. This guy right here sent me an email. Where is he? There he is. This guy. Oh, I understand that you have registered Kayak.viajes. This domain is of interest to us for obviously reasons. Can you tell me how much you'd be willing to sell it for? And we're not interested in leasing and only interested in paying $2,000, which is how much it will cost us to take the domain from you using our trademark rights. So if you want to sell it to us for $2,000, let me know. Well, my website has nothing to do with a kayak.com. Completely different. And they had nothing out there regarding Kayak.viajes. So this is my site, and I maintain it's mine.
We can go from concept to reality in a couple of days. Because Fastly is based on Varnish, we have complete.
Okay, 153.
With Fastly, we can go from concept to reality in a couple of days. Because Fastly is based on Varnish, we have complete control of our configuration. We can do things really quickly that we couldn't do before, and that was really the big selling point for reality in a couple of days. Because Fastly is based on Varnish, we have complete control of our configuration.
Okay, this file that we're looking at right here came from this Google cache here in the Chrome browser, which I've never seen in here before because you clear the cache in the browser itself. But you see this file right here, when I discovered it, it was 50 megabytes. And then I accused Tom Parker, because I allege he's attacking me with his product called Varnish through Fastly. So the reason I say that is because this is the 50 megabyte file that I downloaded before I text Tom Parker. And here is this Varnish product. But that's not what I want to point out right here. You see, I allege these are backlinks that they have installed into my computer again, and doing the same thing what they did to the state of New York's website. Now here's something that I found out. All of these get intercepted by Fastly. But I wanted to do a ping. So I pinged this address. And I'll show you which ones I did. I typed in ping and then cron4.com. And this IP address right here intercepts my computer. So I pung Fox 16, which is on this list right there. I pung Wish TV, which is on this list right here. Now, I also did wavy.com right here, and they all were intercepted at this IP address. This 542938.155. So now I go over and I do a search of who is on this IP address, and some of the same names like Fox 16. There's upmatters.com. I've seen that. I can do upmatter. And there's upmatters.com. They're on this list, on this server, on this IP. And I know now why Amazon is found in my computers all the time. So these are backlinks, I allege. And it's unbelievable that these are in my computer. They've been installed, and then they try to install these into my website, which create these things right here. So here's what a Tor browser discovers. If you get some of these URLs right here and stick them in a Tor browser that is on an iOS device, and all of my iOS devices do this in my house, this is what happens. I type in anything on here. Wayne.com goes right to Fastly. Wavy.com, Fastly. NBC, goes right to Fastly. So they're intercepting my data. Now, Kark, right here's Kark. It's Fastly. So here's the company right here, Fastly. And you know, you've got Tom Parker real close by with Varnish right here. So they're intercepting. But one of the things I found out is it doesn't work with the Google or Safari browser. The Safari browser doesn't catch it. Now, but it does stop, and you know you're going through something, and it hesitates. But the Tor browser catches this, and it takes it right back to Fastly. But this is not. This is Safari. This segment right here is going to be fascinating. I have caught these guys. Now, my iOS devices, my iPads and iPhones, all redirect to Fastly when I use those URLs that happen to be in that 4,000 page document. Here is Gensler. There's Wood TV. It says Fastly. Here's CNN. It says Fastly. But Yahoo does not. So I want to show you the difference here. Yahoo does not show Fastly. FBI.gov does not show Fastly. So what we have here is something that I think is interesting. We're going to close out of this, and I'm going to do a a ping. I'm going to ping yahoo.com from my computer. And there is the IP address for Yahoo. We're going to mark this off to the side. So I'm going to take one of these out, cbs17.com. And, we're supposed to ping that. 1 second. Ping cbs17.com. And here we get this familiar IP address that I have already spotted. So we're going to come over here, and that is the IP address for Yahoo, the one that we typed in the netstat here, wherever it went to, right here, pinging Yahoo. So if you ping Yahoo, there is their IP address. And we're just going to put it in the URL here. Right here. And you get Yahoo. So now I want to get this IP address, which is the one that's intercepting my traffic. And so we're going to put that one in this IP address or URL. And we get Lankana. Now, Lankana is always hand in hand right here, right there with Fastly. So in a lot of cases, when there's Lankana, they're right next to Fastly. And apparently they have a nice little relationship next to Varnish. So they're all in on this. Lankana, Varnish, Fastly, they're all intercepting my traffic. And Tom Parker must be part of this right here. He certainly liked that product. So there you go. This is a big deal. And they're intercepting everything I'm doing in my computers. Now, I text Tom Parker on the 20th and said, "Did you hire Fastly to hack me? I've reported you to the Michigan State Police, FBI, Secret Service because I believe you did." And then I sent him a video of what I put together here, a different version, and showed him. So that was done, I believe, on Friday night. The next morning, everything had changed in those files. So this is the data 3 file, and the file I'm talking about again is this in the cache. And this file right here, it was 51 megabytes when I caught it. And what was in it was things like Fastly. Fastly's in here on 134 pages, right up here. Now, the other thing that's in it is Varnish, right along with Fastly. So let's just look up Varnish. Varnish and Fastly go hand in hand. And the other is this website right here, Lacana. And Lacana, as you can see already, if you watch the video, is intercepting the Fastly traffic. Now my Tor browser is discovering Fastly, and the computer pinging is discovering this. So these were installed into my system, and I allege it's Tom Parker and Fastly. So when I text him the next morning, this was the data 3 file. And if you type in Varnish, it's gone. Now, they could have changed the words, but I'm going to do it again. Varnish, unsearchable. Fastly, unsearchable. Gone. Remember, this is the same file, and this was what he did the next morning. You can't find the word varnish in here. Now, it's so funny. So, let's go to another. Now we have the 4th download, and it's heavily encrypted. The word varnish, let's see if it reappears. But it's more encrypted. So they stuck it back in. But this whole thing has been more encrypted. So this is how their backlinking works, I allege. First off, this also reminds me of a situation where I found Ross Weber right after Tom Parker had threatened to take my domain Kayak.viajes. I discovered Ross Weber stealing from me. So this has all the similarities. So this is going on right now, December 25th. You type in a domain and it says that you're on Fastly. We're going to do another mlive.com, mlive, but it says I'm on Fastly. So here you're catching the redirect using an iOS device, and that's how I caught these guys the first time, when I started to see this going on. We're searching for flights. Hit search. It goes to Clip Trips and takes me to hotels in Tiki. We're going to click because that's our only option. We're going to Tiki, and it's looking for hotels. And then
Untiki.com.
And then they're stealing my traffic and driving it back to Booking.com. So this is the guy that owns ClickTripZ. However, he is a former Kayak executive. His name's Ross Weber. And what these guys were doing were taking these backlinks, and here there's 6,257 pages of backlinks. 6,000 pages. There's 206,000 backlinks. So you come in here and you put that backlink in the URL like I just did right there. And there's my domain, Go.viajes. They have listed it 206,000 times, and they decided to abuse it by putting it on the state of New York's website. So what they wanted, now back in the day, this would go to my website that I just showed you on that booking engine, but now it just redirects to Afterneck, which is part of GoDaddy. But that's what they're doing with my other domains. That's what they're doing with this. Oh, not this. But the other document that I showed you where it had all those new websites. But this is Go.viajes printed out on August 19th. And I want to show you, even on August 19th, 2017, they were putting Varnish in my website. This is on page 13,000. Varnish, and they're working with the cache. Varnish steals your search, and they're using your domain credentials to have a more powerful search, and they're stealing it. And they're driving traffic to it, abusing your domain like this right here, injected malware or injected the script right on the state of New York site. And that's how they're doing it. And it's awful. And Tom Parker, Ross Weber, Chris Ismail, they're all doing it. So the last thing I want to add is I couldn't get PDFs on everything. There's just so much. And on last Friday, before I text Tom Parker, I was going through here, and there are some images and websites. They're not my websites. And some of these bigger files you could read. Like something like this right here. Oh my gosh. It's obviously somebody else's site. But I would go through here, and these were not encrypted. And some of these files were links to porn sites. And now they're encrypted. There were hundreds of links to porn sites that they installed into my browser, into my cache. And they usually turn into the terminal, and they installed this. And I did send Tom Parker